So I do several things. I run the East Lee County Republican Club down in Lee County. I got off the couch about 3 years ago this time, and I just couldn't put up with it no more. Really, I got tired of throwing stuff at the television and screaming and hollering. So I didn't even know there was a local GOP club in Fort Myers. I lived there for 20 years. It shows you how good the outreach is. So I had a friend of mine who was like, hey man, I always go to the same place. I'm a creature of habit. And I was having breakfast and we all sit around and talk politics. And the guy's like, man, why don't you go do something and quit running your mouth? And I was like, what am I supposed to do, right? And he goes, go join the Republican Party, go downtown. And I was like, I didn't even know there was a party here. So anyway, I went down there and I said, hey, look, I don't know anything about anything. But I live out in the eastern part of the county, and I know there's about 200,000 people that live out there, and nobody knows you guys even exist. I was like, I'm here to help President Trump get reelected. And they were like, okay, well, why don't you start a club for us out there? And I've had experience. I'm a real estate broker. I've been selling real estate in Lee County for 21, 22 years. And so I had helped start a real estate investment club. So I kind of had a little background on starting clubs. So I was like, all right, I know a lot of people that live out there anyway. So, everybody was fired up for Trump. So I thought it was kind of easy really to get something going and off the ground. So we did, turned it into a pretty good sized club. We got a big following on social media, 4,000 or 5,000 people follow our little club. But it's because I speak up and I speak out. I don't sit back and, act like a typical Republican, people who are afraid to stand up and, push back on what they truly believe in. A lot of them want to get along, hell, I want to get along, but, I want to get along, in a way that's going to be beneficial to all and not just some people. So I'm a little outspoken, back during the Summer of Love. When BLM was burning, everything down and, causing problems, well, I took the opportunity at that time to, use that platform that we had with all those social media followers, and I got out there and put a picture, a little photo of Calvin. You guys ever see an old Ford truck running through here with Calvin, a little cartoon character peeing on the Chevy logo or something like that? Well, I had Calvin peeing on the BLM logo. And I put Black Lives Matter, and it went boom. It went wild. So I got up the next morning. That was on a Sunday. And I got up the next morning, and the chairman from the GOP called me, and he was like, hey, man, he goes, what are you doing? I was like, what? It's like 7 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. I was like, what am I doing? I was like, what's up? He goes, I was just calling to see how your day was going. He goes, because it's about to get a lot tougher. And I was like, what? Why? And he goes, I don't know what the hell you did. He goes, but I've got, the news calling me from Tampa to Miami, talking about what you posted on Facebook. And I was like, what did I post? I mean, I'm just like, clueless, what? Because I had posted that probably about 5 or 6 times prior, and nobody ever said a word. Well, I guess the media started watching our page, and fake news came out of the woodwork. So I took that opportunity, and I sat down with every last one of them. And I gave them all an interview, and the GOP hated that, because I was out there saying stuff, and they said, "Oh, are you a racist?" I was like, "Really?" I was like, "That's the best you got? I mean, you went to school to ask me if I'm a racist?" I sit on the Chamber of Commerce board of Lee County. I'm a 23-year business owner. I run a GOP club. You don't get to do these things by being a racist. So I pushed back on them, kind of verbally, hand slapped them around a little bit. I engaged with them, right? And so I get a phone call. Michael, please stop talking to the media. And I was like, no, we got some things to talk about. Yeah, well, do me a favor, just take a vacation. And I was like, all right, well, where are y'all sending me? I was like, because I'm not going nowhere. So, he said, look, stay out of the media. And I said, all right, you got it. So I organized a protest at the media's headquarters office in Fort Myers, right? And I didn't show up there dressed as this. I showed up there in a MAGA outfit with a Donald Trump mask on. So my face was never shown out there in the media because I was wearing a costume. But I got on my cell phone over here because it's a proud papa moment. I got on my cell phone over there a picture of the whole group of us standing in front of the fake news headquarters with Fort Myers Police Department standing right behind them because they called the police. They wouldn't even let us on the property. So I had about 100 people lined up on the sidewalk in front of their building screaming and hollering at them. And we took a big old group photo. I got it on my phone over there. Then we went and protested the Democrats' office in Fort Myers. Back with the Cubans, came out a year or two ago, the Castros and everyone in Cuba was being persecuted again. Well, the big Cuban community in Fort Myers started getting fired up. So, GOP was, licking their wounds after the 2020 loss. So I'm over here just like dancing, burning on fire. Let's go, let's go. Let's go help these people, and engage with those Hispanics and bring them into the party. Know damn well that the Democrats don't want them. They just want to take advantage of them. So the GOP was nowhere to be found. So I started going out and engaging with them. And going to the rallies. We hold rallies right on US 41 in front of Edison Mall. We have hundreds of people out there, and they're all got their Cuban flags, so here I am walking up here, like old hillbilly Bob, with my little dirt kickers and carrying my American flag. And, we had a great time. And then the lady who organized all of it was like, we need to get our message to Biden. And I was like, okay, well, what better way to do that than take it straight to the Democrats' office? So she said, oh, we can do that? I said, hell yeah, let's go. Come on, I'll go with you. So I organized it, got them over there, got them fired up, had a great time. The DNC out of Tallahassee called people over in Miami and said, look, we need y'all to get over to Fort Myers and help the Democrats over there because they only have like 8 members. I mean, it's horrible, it really is. And God bless them. So we put a little thing out on Facebook that we were going to go protest them. So people knew about it. It made its way up to Tallahassee. Tallahassee called Miami, sent Democrats from Miami over because what they were going to do is have a counter protest to our protest. And they were going to do theirs first. Well, once we caught wind of that, we just showed up early, right? So we get over there, and they've got fake news, Fox 4's over there, interviewing this guy from Miami who's just sitting here spouting off, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the Democrats do so much for Cuba and blah, blah, blah. So I've got Gladivette Benaroche, who runs the National Republican Hispanic Assembly of Florida. She's based out of Collier County. I called her up and I said, come up here, I need you up here. Because they're bringing, the Cuban gentleman from Miami to come talk, and I want you there screaming at him, telling him that that's not what really happened. So she said, you got it. So she showed up, and I had all the other Cubans with me as well. And while that guy was being interviewed by fake news, they were just sitting there giving him hell. That's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. And then, Fox 4 started interviewing them, and then the rain came. And they sent those people out there to go hold signs on the side of the road, and God bless them, they must have been 85 years old. And they went out there, and as soon as they got out there, the rains came. And it took them probably 10 minutes just to walk back. I felt so bad for them, but we stayed and we protested and we did great. So while I'm there, I get a phone call from the chairman of the GOP. And I was like, uh-oh. So I put that back in my pocket. Well, then I get a text message, now, call me, now. And I was like, oh, damn it, all right. So I pick up the phone, call him, I was like, hey, what's going on? He said, I'm just taking a stab in the dark here. He goes, can you tell me why the hell that the Democratic Party in Lee County is organizing a protest over at GOP headquarters? I was like, damn, I don't know, but I'm down here protesting them now, those sons of guns. I go, I'm getting after them. You can't do that! You can't do that! Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know, I gotta go. Right? So, I have a love-hate relationship with the Republican Party. I love the Republican Party. I don't love everyone that's in the Republican Party because I don't believe that they're truly fighting for America. I think they're fighting for themselves in the Republican Party. And my line of business, I look at it like this. I walked away from a job where my last year in real estate, I made over $250,000, and I make under $50,000 now by choice. Okay, so I'm different. If people want to get involved and get after it, that's what I do. And if you guys want to start something here in Charlotte County where you guys can start organizing like this, because obviously, as we've heard earlier, the REC's, you know, kind of establishment. It's the same thing in Fort Myers. You know, 2 years ago, I started packing it with America First people. And guess who's running for the chair in December? This guy, right? That's right. So that's kind of like my Republican side of everything. But, you know, I do have a real job. And I work, you know, for the America Project, and I am the state director at an organization called Florida for America First. That's bipartisan work, you know, nonpartisan. We don't really care about Republicans or Democrats at that point, or the Green Party or any other party. We just really fight for America. So we focus on election integrity as our main focus, but we also focus on border issues. You know, we also have a border problem here in Florida. It's not just Texas. You know, hundreds and hundreds of people wash up every year on the shores of Miami and the Keys. There was just a month ago, I think a couple hundred people landed over there. So it's a problem here as well. You know, we also advocate for medical freedom and parental rights. Big time on medical freedom. So we have in-house attorneys that work at the America Project, and we, I believe, they just filed a lawsuit against Joe Biden. Also the Secretary of Defense, his name's Austin, and the Secretary of the Air Force. So we just dropped 3 lawsuits on those guys. They terminated a 26-year lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force for not taking the vax. Yes. So they took her down. They also took her pension, I believe, and a lot of other stuff. So, sorry. You know, we filed lawsuits on them. We're going to push back on them because that's what we do. You got to stand up and start pushing back on people or you won't ever be heard. You know, our meetings down in Fort Myers at the REC, they're tough. I was sharing with them a little bit ago. You know, the last meeting we had down there, it turned into a brawl pretty much. We had ambulance come. We had one gentleman had a heart attack. They're almost fisticuffs. They really are. And the state committeeman puts out a motion every month that says, hey, here's my motion, and if it's not approved, I call for an immediate adjournment because they don't want us to speak. They don't even want us to have the opportunity to speak. There's no difference from what the GOP establishment folks do to the America First people than what big tech and the Biden administration is doing to conservatives. You're basically silencing them and saying, look, if you don't agree with me, immediate adjournment. What? Well, that's people in the GOP. You know, there's people like that in the Democratic Party too. All I'm trying to say is just clean it up, you know. People ask me all the time, what's the biggest problem I see in our country? Party politics. Yep. It ain't politics, it's party politics. Because you got Republicans fighting for Republicans, Democrats fighting for Democrats, and nobody's fighting for America. That's right. Right, so I'm the result of that, right? So you don't get out here and focus on stuff like that. You guys want me to go away? I will. I'll be more than happy to go start making $200,000 more a year if you just start doing your job, you know, and do it right and do it fair. So that's kind of like what I'm after. Florida for America First. Let me share with you, man, we got a lot of stuff going on for that. So we focus mainly on election integrity. We started out back in April, May, interviewing all the elected supervisor of elections here in the state of Florida. As of right now, I think we've done 30 of the 67, and you know, 10, 11 of them wouldn't even meet with us. Yours was one of them.
You couldn't even get him on the phone, probably.
No, couldn't get him on the phone. He only communicates via email. So, you know, I said, that's fine. I was like, he got, you know, hey, send me your questionnaire. I'll fill it out and send it back to you. And I said, look, I appreciate it. I go, but it doesn't work like that. You know, this is how I operate. And, you know, if you're not interested in sitting down and meeting with me and voters in your county. So what we do at Florida for America First is, you know, we're a statewide organization. So we're really trying to introduce the voters, you know, to their elected officials. You know, versus people going out here and getting information, you know, from the fake news or the internet. You know what's on my mind? Election transparency. Because if you're being honest with me, I'm going to find out how much integrity you got. I'm not worried about that. You be honest with me and show me everything that's going on. I can think for myself, okay? So that's kind of like where we're at with it. And, you know, he never replied back about that specific request. It was always about the survey. And, you know, so I replied back to him. I was like, that's great, I appreciate that, but, you know, again, you know, also please include a copy of the survey when you, or the manual when you send it back to me. You know, and then I get an email from someone in his office saying, hey, here's a copy of the survey that, you know, the supervisor filled out for you. And I was like, all right, great. Replied back, what about a copy of the manual? You know, I mean, this is like the third or fourth time I've asked for it. And then, you know, supervisor replied back at that time, and he's like, Mr. Thompson, I take back everything good I ever said about you and your organization. My suspicions were confirmed, blah, blah, blah. And let me say this, whoever you're sharing these emails with, need I remind you guys that you guys need to, you know, be honest, you know, don't, you know, be whatever. He's basically just trying to intimidate me, basically saying, look, you're going to be held accountable if you get out here and start, you know, telling lies. Because, you know, what's going on here. I presented you with the facts, and that's how you need to be relating it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I can think for myself. So I replied back to him, and I was like, well, let me ask you this. I go, would it be okay if I said that I've asked you for this document like 4 or 5 times and you refuse to even acknowledge it? Right? So he replied back, Mr. Thompson, we're going to go ahead and fulfill your public records request, blah, blah, blah. You know, so then they called and want my home address. And I was like, I'm not giving you my home address. I was like, email it to me or I'll come pick it up in person. So I came and picked it up in person. It's tough dealing with people like that. They don't even want to talk to you. You know, they just want to make accusations about you. You know, it's kind of like how he feels about me probably. But unfortunately, he didn't get to inspect. He got what he expected. If he said, hey, Michael, why don't you come in and sit down with me? He would have said, hey, you know, good question. Good Lord, I've sat down with Wesley Wilcox. You know, Wesley Wilcox is one of the most, you know, high profile supervisor of elections that we have here in the state of Florida. Wesley Wilcox pushes back hard against groups like mine. But you know what? I went up to Ocala and sat down with Supervisor Wilcox. He's an extremely nice guy. He's very talented, extremely knowledgeable. He's very professional. I just don't agree with him. But I'm not going to, you know, insult him or disrespect him because I don't agree with him. I'm still going to give him that courtesy, you know, until he gives me a reason not to. But unfortunately, you guys here, it's tough. It's real tough. So, you know, we're not going nowhere from Charlotte County. I can promise you that much. I can't tell you what we're actually doing, but we're not going nowhere. I can promise you that much. So let's talk about other things that we're doing. We're also working on a Get Out the Vote campaign. We're going to be out door knocking. So we purchased a database, you know, of voters here in Florida that what we call are low propensity. They haven't voted in the past several general elections. We've identified 440-something thousand of them. Yeah. Yeah. So they sent me the walk book. We have our own app. We have our own people. We have our own tech team too. They load all this stuff. I just need like people's, you know, names and email addresses, and we set them up and we put them through like 15 minutes of training on how to work it, and they're good to go out door knocking for us. That's huge. That's our main focus moving forward past next Saturday. So next Saturday, I'm going to be hosting a election integrity conference over at the Palm Beach Airport Hilton. This is awesome. So they reached out to me probably about a month ago and said, hey, we want to do this big event on election integrity here in Florida, but you know, you got get it going for us. You're the state director and all this, and I was like, yeah, I'm busy. I was like, I don't have time for that. And he was like, well, talk to the guy. And I was like, all right. So he's a former Democratic congressional guy out of Fort Lauderdale. His name's Tim Canova. This guy's awesome. He really is. I'm going to share a story with you. So I got him on the phone. We were talking with him, and he shared a story with me. So in 2016, Tim Canova, who's a Democrat from Lauderdale, ran against Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz, for Congress. And he got crazy Uncle Bernie Sanders endorsement. He raised $4 million during his campaign. And, man, I shouldn't laugh, but the day before the election, this is Crooked Briar County. The day before the election, a local news station printed the results of the election. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Especially the next day when Blabbermouth won by the exact same numbers that they posted the day before the election. Oh. Wow, yeah. So he sued Briar County Supervisor of Election Brenda Snipes. She was horrible. Thank God for DeSantis getting rid of her. So he has Brenda Snipes on camera, in court of law, under deposition, admitting that her office illegally destroyed 50,000 votes in that race. So Tim wants to bring awareness to his case now that Director Antonucci is up there working with the security crimes and the election crimes and security division. So he's petitioning him to take action against Brenda Snipes. Unfortunately, as of right now, she still makes $130,000 a year off the backs of taxpayers. She has a pension. He wants that pension removed, and he wants her arrested because there's no statute of limitation when it comes to this type of an election crime. So he's petitioning, the state to do something. And we're hoping that they're actually going to do something. We're also hoping that the Florida legislation does something as well. And that's fund that department. So Governor DeSantis asked for $25 million in a historic budget that came out over $100 billion, and he asked for $25 million to fund this election crimes department, and the uber conservative Florida legislation gave him $1 million. So my organization has more financial resources than the state does. How is that even possible? Seriously, shouldn't the state be out here doing this, investigating crimes? I'm sure, or at least, accusations, allegations. We hear them all over the state. Good Lord, my phone blew up on election night. People just calling, saying, hey, we've seen this, we've seen this, we've seen this. It's unbelievable. It's not just local stuff here in Charlotte County. When we started this whole process of me going out here and interviewing these supervisor of elections, one of the things was, are we really the gold standard in Florida when it comes to voting, or are we just better than the rest? Because I know what the rest is. That's a bunch of crap. Are we just like, the top of crap? Or are we actually the gold standard? Well, I got my answer, unfortunately. We got to do a lot better here. There's no doubt, specifically when it comes to working with nursing homes. That is very troubling to me. We have a group up in North Florida at a nursing home that we're working with. They reached out to our organization and said, hey, back in 2020, here's how it went down. They dropped the ballots off, what's her name fills it out and goes and gets everybody to sign it. So we're going to be working with them heading into this election coming up. Folks, it's, good Lord. I got a video on my phone, it's about a minute long. If we had it, I could show it to you. I'll show it to you after the meeting. I went over to Fort Lauderdale and interviewed Joe Scott, who's the supervisor of elections in Broward. And again, super highly intelligent, West Point graduate, a veteran, served in Iraq, extremely intelligent, very professional. Probably don't agree with him on anything, but super nice guy, And when we go and sit down with these elected officials, we ask them, hey, can we record this? No. Oh, okay. Well, I just don't want to misquote you or anything, that's all. I was like, it is what it is. Well, Joe's like, hell yeah, you're more than welcome to. He goes, most of the groups like you come in here and just try and record us, and they don't even think that we know that we're being recorded, but we know. And I was like, that's fine. I was like, cool, I appreciate it. So I hit the guy that I was with. I said, turn the camera on. We usually just do audio, but I was like, here, turn the camera on. So we got it all on camera. So the first question that I asked all of them is, share with us your biggest concerns, heading into the 2020 election. And they all collude with each other. Once they know there's groups like mine out here asking questions, they pick up a phone and call all their other supervisors and tell them, hey, here's a copy of their questions. And so 90% of them say misinformation, disinformation. It's both words too. It's not just misinformation or disinformation. It's misinformation, disinformation. Why? Because they get talking points, generally from someone up in Central Florida that I mentioned earlier. It's just how it goes. He's the king of misinformation and disinformation. But I was a little surprised and perplexed at the response that I got from Supervisor in Broward County, Joe Scott. He said physical security. I was like, physical security? And I looked at the guy I was with. He's a volunteer from Broward. And I was like, okay. So I just sat there for a second, and he just kind of led on at that point. He goes, for example, there's some people out there, that are putting things out there in people's heads, that might make them think that it's their duty or patriotic duty to come and storm my precincts and stop me from counting votes. I was like, wow. I was like, man, I ain't never heard that one before. So we started talking a little bit, and I was like, well, that's unbelievable. You think somebody's going to come storm your precinct to stop? It kind of sounds like January 6th type stuff, right? Yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. I was like, well, let me ask you, do you have any credible threats? I mean, that's horrible. Putting all these people in a position where they could be attacked and stuff. Have you shared this threat, with BSO, Broward Sheriff? Oh, we ain't got no threat. Well, if you don't have a threat, why the hell is that your biggest concern leading into this election? Because it sounds like you're kind of putting things out there and people's heads out there that might not necessarily be true, right? It's crazy. It really is. So next Saturday, we're going to be doing this election integrity conference over at the Palm Beach Hilton. Tickets are $20. It includes lunch. Lunch cost me $18, right? And I can tell you it costs a lot more for that seat than $2. So we're taking it on the chin, and that's cool. We've got the ability to absorb those type of hits. It's really important for us that we actually get out here and bring public awareness, to what's really going on. So we have, you guys ever heard of Laura Logan? She's kind of like a national news reporter.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be our moderator.
Elliot.
Yeah, she's going to be our moderator for the event. My boss, Patrick Byrne, he'll be there speaking about election integrity. Have you guys ever seen Patrick Byrne's documentary called The Deep Rig?
What's it called?
It's called The Deep Rig. Go to americaproject.com, that's our website, and then just type in Deep Rig, or go to Rumble and type in The Deep Rig. Patrick Byrne. He did a documentary about the Arizona recount. Patrick paid for that recount himself out of his own pocket. Patrick didn't vote for Trump in 2020. He's never voted for Trump. He didn't vote for crazy Uncle Joe either. He's an independent. He just said, look, I just want to see things fair. If you guys aren't familiar with Patrick Byrne, he's the former founder of Overstock.com. He's a crypto guy. He got tons of money. He's an awesome patriot. I feel fortunate to work with him. So go check that out. But Patrick's going to be at the event speaking. We also have the Secretary of State's. He's the Secretary of State GOP nominee out there. We also have the gentleman from Nevada running for Secretary of State. His name is Jim Marchant. The list goes on and on. Tom Homan, the former ICE director, he's going to be here there talking about immigration and illegal votes and things like that. It's unbelievable. It's going to go from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's an all-day event. We are going to stream it live on our website, americaproject.com, if you're not able to make it. But we should have about 500 people at that event. Fake news is coming. We got Bloomberg, AP, all the local fake news people will show up as well. But
Location where you're going to be at, the Hilton and all.
Sure, it's Palm Beach Airport Hilton. It's on Australian Avenue. It's right next to the airport in West Palm Beach.
And what day would this be?
This is next Saturday, September the 10th. Yeah. So if you go to this website, it's www.accfei.org. Now that website right there is where you can actually purchase tickets. We partnered with that organization. They're handling all the ticket sales. They're bringing on all the speakers. I found the venue. I brought in some Florida speakers, and I'm helping sell the tickets. They've kind of like brought in all that, are handling the ticket sales. But you can go to their website, accfei.org, and get all the information there. But it's going to be at the Palm Beach Hilton. It's $20 to get in. It includes lunch. We negotiated discounts with the Hilton, so we have room discounts, $135. That's a great price for West Palm Beach on a weekend, especially on the Hilton.
Do you have anything to do with Defense Florida?
I don't work for Defense Florida, no. I know Raj. Raj is a friend of mine.
Okay, I just want to know that, you collaborate with Defense Florida and anything.
Yeah, so Raj is going to be one of the speakers at my event, or our event, next Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that website again?
accfei.org. accfei.org. You can go there and get tickets. It'll also give you some information. I don't believe it's going to tell you who the speakers are on that particular website, but I have a flyer here on my phone as a photo. If you guys want me to text it to you so you can have it and see who all the speakers are, and all the information's on that flyer right there. I can send it today, then we can turn around and send it back out.
Your website is?
My website is FL. Yeah, that's important. My website is FL. For America First, and it's all spelled out. FORAMERICAFIRST. FL.ForAmericaFirst.com. The reason why it's FL. Is because we operate in 9 different states throughout the country. We have this group called Operation Eagle's Wings. So I'm the Florida director, but we also operate in Texas, Arizona, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Georgia. So that's why if you want to go to Georgia for America First, you just put in GA and it'll take you to that state's website. But I have a ton of stuff on that website, and I'm glad you brought that up. So we have this one thing called Election Observer. You're talking about exit stuff. We have a checklist. We provide people who follow the.
So it's Florida, FL.
No, it's just FL. There's no Florida. It's just FL.
Right.
ForAmericaFirst.com.
Got it.
Could you talk about, I'm curious about Lee County, if you're looking to, I'm not sure the right language, what we use, like take over the leadership of the county party, does Lee County have the same kind of trouble currently in your estimation? And then what does the progression look like on the ground for political offices? And then I'm curious if you talk about the county and how that's progressed or how you see things going.
Yeah. So let me answer that. When you get to our website, there's going to be several links at the top that's it there, that you can click on, and it'll take you, click on elections, and underneath that elections tab, you're going to find a ton of information. We also have the election observer, which is basically a checklist that we provide our poll watchers. So we do poll watching training, and we're actually fixing to have it on that website where you can just go and take the training right on our website and still be able to go and do poll watching. We also have a resource page on there that has links to everything that you need when it comes to the elections. Voters, the average voter is what we're really looking for. We're looking to get feedback. That's why we have those forums on there. Hey, when you get to a polling location, look for this. When you get inside the polling room, look for this. And then now that you voted, look for this and tell us about that. Because we want all this data. We pull it nationally, but we have the ability to filter it county by county. So if a lot of people here in Charlotte used it, we could actually give you guys your data and say, here's what everything that came out of Charlotte County. Now to answer your question about the GOP stuff, I'm sorry, say that again?
I'm curious about how Lee relative to Charlotte County to you? And then the step, like, for example, before you were speaking, my next comment was to be like, I think it's a smart idea, supervisor elections, control the county party. That seems like a logical step as a building block. I'm curious about like the progression of your actions throughout the county and how they've taken hold.
Yeah, so, I just started a club, 3 years ago and just got active and started getting after it, and, the passion just kind of took off from there. I knew that there was a problem in the REC, and, I knew the only way to do it was to pack it with America First people. So I did that initially, and then, I kind of just, found some other things doing. We're talking about fake news, NBC. I did an event in Fort Myers last year with General Flynn that they came and did a hit piece on us and really did a bad job. They said the organizer of this event is a domestic terrorist. He also has ties to, he's a racist, white supremacist who has ties to domestic terrorists. I'm like, are you talking about me? I was like, oh, dang. I was like, man, that's impressive, right? I was like, how did I achieve all this stuff being this horrible person? So we filed a defamation lawsuit against Waterman Broadcasting on October the 3rd, coming up in about a month. They have a motion to dismiss our case, and we're taking on the court for it. We're seeking $10 million in defamation.
All right.
Stand up and speak your mind. You know why our society is the way it is right now? Because people aren't willing to stand up because they're afraid somebody's going to call them something. You know what's tough? You can call me whatever the hell you want to. I don't care. There's a lot of things I don't get along with some people because I can think for myself and I don't care what you think about me. It is what it is. You know what? When you see someone coming in here who's serving you with, 500 earrings in and an earring in their tongue and one in their nose and pink hair and all this, tell them, I'm sorry, I want another waiter. I didn't come to the damn circus. I didn't come to the freak show. I want another waiter. I'm sorry. It is what it is. When someone tells you, hey, shut up, get in line and take this vaccination. I'm sorry. Ain't gonna work. It ain't going to work. Stand up and fight for yourself because nobody's going to be the bigger cheerleader for yourself than you. And if you're not willing to do it, then you get what you deserve.
Yep.
But I'm sorry. I started 3 years ago when my daughter was 10 years old. I grew up in a pretty good time. And I just sit here and look at it now. I'm like, Jesus Christ. What the hell is this country going to look like 20, 30 years from now when she's my age? Hell, it might not even be here 5 years from now the way that I think of it. So I just wanted to get out here and get involved and get out here and get after it. Man, we got so many things that we're doing. If you want to knock on doors, if you want to make cold calls, if you want to get involved and do events, if you want to do what he's talking about. So we're going to be switching some things up here right after the election. And we're going county by county. Not doing interviews with supervisor of elections. I'm going to be going county by county looking for 2 people in every county. And I want those 2 people to dominate. I want one of them to know everything about the county, who the county commissioners are, who the America First county commissioners are, who the Swamp Rat county commissioners are. I want to know who the the America First candidates are. I want to know who the Swamp Rat candidates are. And then the other person is going to be responsible for all the cities in the county. And I want that person to be able to tell me, Punta Gorda City Council members, here's America First, they're America Last, they're America Last, they're America Last. Okay, now we know what we got. We start identifying things and we start getting after it that way. So we're going to be doing county by county on all of it. So if you guys have any up to want to work with us and what we're doing and bringing to the table, we'll be here. We really will.
There's none. We're done.
Yeah, we already have the assessment.
No, there's none. There's none in the commission.
We can give you names now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
we're all there.
That's what we're really looking for.
We're already trying to cross them off, right?
I know you are, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help groups like y'all get together and take action and get things done. Whether you need $250 to print some stuff, maybe you need a website. Hell, we got in-house web people. We can build a website for a club. We can do a lot of things to help support the America First groups Okay, but that's what we're looking for, is America First type people. Now, you asked me a question about the GOP and stuff.
I just wondered if you've had any election success yet when it comes to turning over like school board or county commissions.
In Lee County, yeah. In Lee County, we just got rid of a bunch of commies on the school board. Thank God. We took out so we got three of them. 3 of the 4 seats that were open have been, I think, secured by Republicans. And the last one is coming down to a former Top Gun fighter pilot and a Democrat communist. Admit it. She was up on the school board in Lee County telling everyone, all you people here that are screaming and hollering remind me of the same people that happened on January 6th. Hey, you think that's funny? The state committeeman at the Lee County REC, Matt Caldwell, sent a letter out about a month or 2 ago to the REC saying, hey, all you new people here that aren't, cooperating, you guys are just like domestic terrorists.
Caldwell said that?
Yeah, that email went everywhere. Caldwell said that. You know what? All you people showing up here, all you America First people causing problems, you guys are nothing but domestic terrorists. That's how you guys are treating us. What? And then he goes and wants to put a 2-year ban. He was potentially thinking about implementing a 2-year ban on people coming into the REC. And they don't want you to talk. That's why all his motions went in adjournment. Yeah. Awesome. So this guy right here is awesome. Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
Good luck running for the chair up here. You got our support. You got my support for the moving back.
All right.